This episode of The Breakfast Dish is brought to you by the Calgary Foundation, proudly supporting community needs for 65 years.
And supporting The Breakfast Dish for about 9 months. Whether it was proudly, I don't know. We said a lot of weird stuff.
I think they're proud.
I hope so.
We only mentioned cocaine once. When you make a gift to the Calgary Foundation, it's a gift that keeps on giving. The Foundation's knowledgeable staff will provide advice on the community's most pressing needs, keeping your interests at heart and helping you give back in a way that is meaningful for you.
Do you have another gift, like off the top of your head, that also keeps on giving?
Yes, Neil Diamond albums.
Oh, God.
Your contributions are invested in an endowment fund that provides a permanent source of funding, allowing you to make an impact now and forever.
There you go. People want to leave a legacy. This is how you do it.
If you're a professional advisor creating a giving plan for a client or a donor wanting to give back to the community, discover a wealth of resources at calgaryfoundation.org to learn more, or check out Calgary Foundation's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube channel.
Hey, Calgary Foundation, toss us a follow. Peace sign.
I think I'm going to give some money to them instead of you.
I don't deserve it.
Tell me your dreams over bacon and eggs. We'll share a laugh and a story and even a wish on the breakfast dish. Bop, bop, bop.
Good morning, everyone.
31.
And welcome to this, the 30-something
31.
episode of 32.
Episode 31. Griffin says it with absolute confidence. I don't know what you're looking at on your podcast service, but
32.5.
if it says 32, that's a trick by the man. There's no dice. It's 31 and anyone is lying if it's otherwise.
33.3 repeating. Welcome to episode 33.3 repeating of The Breakfast Dish.
Welcome to the third of an episode we're about to record.
This is the third. This third is going to be a third of the podcast we normally do. It's not going to be a third. It's going to be the whole podcast. 3 voices, something in the threes. We're going to mention the number 3 at least 3 times.
Well, that works out great. I turned 33 at the end of the month. So as far as branding goes, we are on point.
Oh my God.
Jesus birthday, Jesus birthday, Jesus birthday.
You want to know the crazy thing?
What?
And maybe we'll probably touch on this later, but I'm also playing Jesus in a performance of The Passion over Zoom at the end of the month.
He also played a vaguely Jesus-esque character in a film that you saw, Mother, John 3:16.
Oh!
There we go. I was wondering if she
I
remembered.
did not make that connection. I love that film. Okay, back up. This is the podcast that I do with my son.
I hate it when Mom beatboxes at the start of the podcast.
That's supposed to be my rewind sound.
Right.
You kids these days don't know what it sounds like when you rewind something.
You kids these days don't know how to scat.
Listen, before we jump to all the great things about our guest, I have to say, I'm the mother, Griffin's the son. We do this podcast. It's called The Breakfast Dish. Griffin's about to tell you why we do this podcast. What's the purpose? Griffin, go boy.
You're looking for some freaking art out there, aren't you, listeners?
Yeah.
Gosh, it's hard to find nowadays.
It sure is. Oh, yeah.
Except on the World Wide Web.
Yeah,
the
that's
internet,
true.
ever heard about it? There's digital business. There's online business. And in some choice scenarios, there's in-person, socially distant business. And we're freaking interested in what you guys are doing.
We are.
How are you doing it? What are you doing? Where are you doing it?
Where?
What was the freaking shift for you like? And now, I don't want to talk about work anymore. Let's talk about your goofy habits. That's kind of the whole premise of The Breakfast Dish. That's a nice little wrap-up.
I felt like you were talking directly to the people.
That's a great intro.
Wow, okay. Gosh, all right. Well, I got my compliments I want, so I'm going to leave, and you guys can go ahead with the interview.
Okay, bye. So anyway, Colin, no, Griffin, please introduce our guest because now I'm a little bit gobsmacked that I saw him play Jesus and I can't talk. So you have to introduce our guest.
Our guest is a very dear friend of mine. I've known him for a multitude of years now. I've easily over drinks talked to him about a multitude of very meaningful things towards myself. He is the mind behind Brother Bedtime. He is now, as has been just revealed to us, will twice play either directly Jesus or vaguely Jesus. He is... What is your position at WordsWorth, just quickly?
I'm the director of that little program.
That's right. So he's the director of WordsWorth, and he's a member of the Yeg Poetry Brothel. Ladies and gentlemen, and all folks, we have Colin Matty on the mic. Colin, how are you?
I'm doing really good, Griff. Thanks for having me on the show.
I'm so stoked you're here, man. This one isn't, none of them are really work. This one isn't work for me. I'm just hanging out.
Righteous. Yeah, it's good to see you.
When do you turn 33?
I hit 33 on March 31st.
Okay.
Yeah.
So right around Easter.
Yeah. It's and on top of the Passion performance, which we're going to be recording on Zoom on my birthday, I've been asked to read a commission for some affiliated diocese of the people that are doing this thing. I think it's I want to say the Anglican ministry at the university, but they've asked me to write a poem about the Lenten season, which for the believers among us, I guess, will know that it's upon us and has been and will remain upon us for a few more weeks yet.
Wow.
So is it kind of like, you can cut this if this is insulting, but is it poetry about the Lenten season, sort of like a country song where you just lose everything, just give up everything?
I don't know. I haven't written it yet, but yeah, there's.
Well, there's your idea. I just gave it to you.
Great. It'll run through the typewriter that much easier.
Perfect. Yeah, we expect a kickback on that, so you'll be hearing from our lawyers.
Oh yeah. I'll be forwarding you all that sweet tithe money.
I lost my chocolate. I lost my Zoom. I lost my Facebook.
Okay, prospector. Name me 4 other things you've lost.
My mind.
Yeah.
My mind and
my
actually,
mind. I'm wrong. That's enough. Colin, just give us a little taste of Brother Bedtime. When did you start it? Why did you start it? What do you do? Where is it?
Brother Bedtime is a little storytelling endeavor that I started off not too far from around this time last year, right when it became a crime to be in public. I decided that was like the good opportunity to implement this idea that I had for a few years. And it's basically a live stream of a nightly bedtime story. I flatter myself by saying that the vibe is somewhere between Masterpiece Theatre and Wayne's World. Which is probably more accurate than I'd like it to be. But it's super informal, super casual, and Monday through Thursday night at twitch.tv/brotherbedtime at 8:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We crack open a book and we read for, I don't know, a half an hour, 45. Sometimes if we're really clipping along, we'll carry on for upwards of an hour. But usually it's just a nice little cap on the day, a chance for a tiny little community of people to come together and unwind. There's so much stressful stuff in the world generally. And like, even I find like media at large in the public sphere is really quite taxing for me. Like, you know, with everything that's going on in the news, I don't want to like come home and watch like Law and Order SVU. It's a dated reference, but you get my point, right? Like, I want something that's a little more wholesome, a little more human.
That's not dated. That's like right up my alley. That
there we go.
Date, Law and Order SVU.
Yeah, I mean, really great show. Super stressful though. Like
True.
It gives me the Ghiblies.
There's also some parts of SVU. Sorry, wait. Make sure I'm not messing these up. Is Law and Order SVU the one with Ice-T?
It's the Sexual Victims Unit.
Yeah.
Sexual Violence Unit.
I don't know if Ice-T's in that one.
I don't think Ice-T's
I don't know. Okay, all right, then never mind. Editor, cut this out. I love Ice-T.
Big and a couple of weeks ago we had Mr. T on the show, and this week we have Ice-T.
No, we didn't. No, we referenced Mr. T.
Okay.
If we had Mr. T on the show, I would stop doing the episodes. There would be nothing. It would only go downhill from there.
Retire heavyweight champion of the world.
Yeah.
We've discussed our goals on this podcast. We discussed them in episode 1. One was to talk to people from the Citadel and Theatre Calgary. We have achieved that goal. The other was to get John Krasinski, or you, a faux John Krasinski, which we have. And now we have faux Jesus.
In the flesh.
Lots of prayers for Jesus.
Okay, listen, I have to go
Everyone
back.
pray for Jesus.
You open a book. So are you reading a kid's story, or are you like reading a novel bit at a time? Or
The short answer is yes. The initial endeavor was intended to be largely family friendly, but not necessarily. This is going to come out wrong, but family safe, because I don't restrict myself to books that are for children exclusively.
Right. Gotcha.
There have been a few things that we've read that are, like for example, Bram Stoker's Dracula. There's some while the book is of a time and might not be super scary, there's definitely some very evocative sensuality involved. There is some pretty horrific stuff, the themes and things like that. But on the other hand, we began the project by reading the entirety of the Chronicles of Narnia, which was a series that was near and dear to my heart when I was a kid. So it was really, really great to get to share that with folks.
Not family safe. Brother Bedtime. Fine for kids,
family friendly.
Excellent for grandma.
If you want some young vixens licking blood off Dracula's chest, come on down to Brother Bedtime.
Yeah, it's a real crapshoot. We did Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and next week we're reading a heavy-hitting sci-fi novel by Samuel R. Delany called Nova from the 60s.
Whoa,
so I kind of go all over the place. Yeah. It was recommended to me by my partner Sam, and it sounds like it's right up my alley. It's sort of like a futurist mashup of mythology, and tarot features heavily in it. And there's space pirates and cyborgs and other more adult themes, which I won't go into here. But I'm super stoked for it.
Do you finish the book?
So far, we finished everything we've started. Yeah, I think Bram Stoker's Dracula will be the longest one. But we also read recently. We did the Maltese Falcon. We've done a really marvelous verse translation of the Epic of Gilgamesh, which is one of my favorite stories. Flat out. Also the oldest story there is. So it's been really fun to like just kind of pick from the favorites that I've come across, both in my childhood and in my adult years, and get to share those. But this next book I've never read before, so I'm excited to dive into that too.
When it's not a crime to be together again, then Griffin will bring you over to my place where his father has kept all of his children's books and novels from the 1960s. So anytime, I got some.
Really?
Oh, yeah. The bottom of the bookshelf in the library there is all
I always assume anything in the basement that says Kevin on it is either old D&D notebooks or Christmas decorations that he painted.
It's true.
There's a lot of those.
He kept some books from the age he was when he was painting Christmas decorations.
Very cool. Yeah, I've largely stuck to books that are in the public domain, which just means that as far as Canada, and I think the rest of the Commonwealth is concerned, that the author has been dead for 50 years. And that's not because I'm worried of getting, found out by Random House and having the whole enterprise shut down.
You're done, Brother Bedtime. Hands up.
Yeah. But it's something that I've been sort of, I don't know, a little cautious about. But this most recent one that I'm going to be doing is by a still living author, actually. And I had the pleasure of reaching out to him and having a little exchange and, coming to an equitable arrangement that would allow him to let me share his very cool sci-fi book.
Amazing.
Wow. I'm only half familiar with Twitch and affiliate status and whatnot. Once you stream these, are they available to watch afterwards, or is it like a firework? If you miss it, it's gone?
So in theory, I've uploaded everything to my YouTube page as well. So there's this absolute archive of material that you can check out and see all the past broadcasts and peruse the library at your own leisure. In practice, I haven't uploaded anything since about last July. I have everything saved on my laptop, but it's just gathering digital dust on my hard drive right now. So who knows? Maybe by the time this comes out, I'll have done my due diligence, and you can go and check out Dracula and the Epic of Gilgamesh and A Christmas Carol and all sorts of other things. But right now, you're going to get about halfway through the fourth book of the Chronicles of Narnia, and then I drop off the face of the earth as far as the YouTube page is concerned. So,
and then Brother Bedtime died. He escaped into Narnia.
Oh, God. I wish.
I just need to say that if Griffin says he's only half familiar with Twitch, then I'm only like 0.33 familiar with Twitch.
Of course, yeah. I mean, I don't know a ton about the platform itself, other than it's owned by Amazon, so it's massive, and it started up, I want to say, about a decade ago as sort of the first streaming platform where people could broadcast to audiences on the internet, kind of whatever they want. So there's a lot of people that stream video games. There's a lot of people that do arts and crafts things where they're building a costume or painting while they're live on video and chatting with people in the audience. And it's this really powerful peer-to-peer sharing live streaming service, and it's definitely the most popular of the bunch out there.
It has a huge video game culture, and it also has a huge Dungeons and Dragons culture. D20 Initiative, Kevin Cork streams on Twitch as well as YouTube.
Hey.
I have a friend who just makes what are they called? Emotes or
emotes,
like stickers on Twitch.
Yeah.
Like her job is that she makes those for people, which is like it's a whole other subculture that I have just no bearing in. I'm without a paddle.
I'm scared of LinkedIn. I can't even imagine. I got to figure it out. YouTube I can do. You got to get all the rest loaded because I know YouTube. I understand it. I know the website address for YouTube. I can do it.
Yeah, it's a really, I like YouTube as a way to sort of maintain things in perpetuity. But the advantage that Twitch has over other streaming platforms for particularly live stuff is that it's super easy to search by category. So if you're like, I want to see somebody playing the glockenspiel, like you can go to music and then you can just punch in glockenspiel and it'll show everybody that's playing music, and then you can narrow it down to people that have that in their description. So, you can even go into, let's say there's a section on just chatting, and there's, at any given time between 50 and 300 different people live streaming in that channel. You can just click on there and then sort it by most viewers or least viewers. So you can end up seeing some pretty obscure, is the word I'll use, stuff just by scrolling all the way to the bottom of any given category. You'll see somebody in China live streaming lunch to 2 people and putting their own personal stamp on it. So it's definitely like media from and for the people in that way. There's a very low barrier to entry. It's not like you have to go to Juilliard or get accepted into a performing company. No, you just need a flip phone with a camera and a Wi-Fi connection, and away you go.
Could I go in there and search, I want to see everybody who's talking about Neil Diamond?
You probably could. Yeah. There's actually a whole subsection dedicated to Neil Diamond.
Are you making that up?
Yes, I am.
I bet you're wrong though, because there's satellite stations.
Honestly, I'm probably right.
There's satellite radio stations that are just Neil Diamond. If you go on like Spotify or whatever, there's Neil Diamond Radio anyway.
Yeah.
And actually, if you go to Spotify, someone buy me a Spotify membership. Colin, how has your experience been so far? 'Cause something I've heard from a lot of performers who are performing like online constantly is the difference in. I'm not sure how it works on a Twitch stream, but for example, like people doing Zoom play readings, they see like little messages from the audience like pop up during the reading, which is not something you would have gotten like in a live event. Like, do you have is interaction available during the reading? And is that something you witness, or I mean, what is it like reading 45 minutes to a camera?
Yeah. I mean, I think the audience interaction is probably the biggest selling point of Twitch. Is that if everything's running smoothly, I think there's supposed to be a 7-second delay between the stream and the audience seeing what you're broadcasting. So it's very close to real time. So anything that happens on the show, they get to see. And then because there's this sort of peer-to-peer connection, there's the chat box where people can, say literally like, "Hi, Brother Bedtime, loving the story," or like, "Nice hair, you look like Jesus," which happens a lot.
I'm surprised by that. I'm really surprised to hear that.
Yeah, no, I've got the white Jesus look on lock, and there's no doubt in my mind. I don't know how historically accurate it is, but it's done well by me.
The fact that you played Jesus, and I made a reference to 33 being your Jesus birthday, and still didn't recognize you as Jesus in the film John 3:16 is...
He's not... Okay, well, I have to defend Jarvis here. His character name is not Jesus.
Oh, I know that.
It's John.
I know.
Which means that's almost even more famous. He is the titular John of John 3:16.
True.
Karen.
But there is like the image is...
They're definitely leaning into that, yeah.
Yeah, they're just a little bit biased towards that visual. I love that movie, though. Congratulations, because I know it's getting like awards and laurels and film fest.
Yeah, it's been so great to finally see it doing the circuit and getting some attention.
Yeah,
it was a strange process to actually become involved because again, my partner Sam was going out to audition for it, and we were reading the sides beforehand, and she's like, "Hey, this calls for a mental patient who thinks he's Jesus or something," like would seem to be the sort of gist that we got from the sides that we had. And it's like, well, I can do that. So I crashed the audition cold, and
I forgot that you crashed.
Yeah, I crashed the audition cold. Sam showed them a picture of me, and they were like, "Yes, we could make time to see him."
We need to see him, I think.
So I got in right at the end of the day and did my bit, and it was this really delicious moment of just like a moment of silence, and it's like, "Yes, we'll be in touch. Thank you." So that was a really cool experience. I don't do a ton of auditions. Most of my gigs are pretty informal connections through the community and things like that. So it was when the shoe fits, you cast the shoe as Jesus.
Okay.
That's true. The shoe's got the white Jesus look on lock.
My mom, Griffin's Oma, has a book that she calls the Red Book, where she puts phrases that have probably never been said before, and that if you were just learning English would make no sense whatsoever. And this phrase will never be said before again, and that is, if the shoe fits, you cast the shoe as Jesus. That's got to go in that book.
You got to write that down.
It's a strong candidate, yeah.
I'll write it down.
Yeah. There's some good ones in there. Speaking of books and writing, involving yourself in literature is not anything new to you, Colin Matty, as the director of WordsWorth for how many years now?
Oh, gosh. I think this is coming up on, let me see. This will be at least number 7, maybe more.
Gosh.
Yeah, it's been a minute. It's been a trip. Every year rolls around and I'm like, wow, that was really good. I don't know how I'm going to top it. Maybe I should call it quits, get some fresh blood in. And then immediately after the program is done, I was like, oh, that was amazing. I can't wait for next year. It's been really cool and challenging for sure over this past year especially. But it's such a privilege to be part of such an incredible community. WordsWorth is a young writers creative residency for youth. A young writers for youth residency.
Yeah.
Creative types.
They're doubly young.
Precisely. Yeah. Typically we get together for 3 weeks in the summer, and the kids get the opportunity to take writing workshops with working professionals, be they playwrights or songwriters or novelists or journalists or clowns or parkour instructors or photographers. We use writing as a very broad umbrella for getting people in the same space and creating a community and an environment where experimentation and collaboration is fostered and encouraged to the nth degree, and sometimes the oath degree. I guess MNO. Yeah. No, that joke was exactly what I imagined it would be. I
want to see how far you would go. The quote degree.
I think we made it. I think we got there. So yeah, it's been really wonderful over the past 6 to 9 years as the director. I've had the privilege of working with a lot of really fantastic artists and writers and things like that. Some of the poet laureates: Marion Pinkowski, Derek Beaulieu, Krista Meener. I'm having a brain fart. Lindsay Walker, a local musician, has taught there a bunch. Leif Ingebrigtsen came down and did a songwriting workshop.
Eric Mortimer,
thank you.
He's a favorite of my mom's.
Oh my God, I love Eric Mortimer. He's everything I've ever worked with him on or seen him in is just an absolute delight.
Yeah,
he's a stand-up fellow. But yeah, I've had the pleasure of working with a ton of people that I have either heard about and then approached, like, hey, do you want to come teach? And they're like, oh, okay. And then they get there and like, wait a second, this is awesome. Because in a lot of ways, it's a creative writing residency for a lot of the staff as well. Just the opportunity to be surrounded by so many working professionals and creatives in the forest. I can't discount the forest.
So is it a sleepover camp somewhere?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
3-week sleepover camp.
Well, it's 3 1-week sessions. And the first week is usually our youngest group of kids. And then after that, we have our older group of kids. The program shares an ancestry with YouthWrite, which a lot of other folks have heard about.
Right.
And the WordsWorth is under the affiliation of the Writers Guild of Alberta, is the sort of parent agency.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So they're 3 1-week residencies. The kids show up on Sunday evening and then they leave on Friday afternoon. And so the summer camp phenomenon is a truly remarkable experience where people show up on the first day, kind of timid, not really knowing anybody. And they as a result, they end up leading with their best foot and making a lot of impressions. And there's this moment that happens usually around Tuesday or so where these new kids, they get to chatting with some of the old timers, the 16-year-old old timers or whatever that have been coming every year since they were 12. And there's this moment where you can see them go like, whoa, wait a second. You mean you read at lunch too? Well, what's your favorite season of Doctor Who? And it's like there's just this moment where they recognize that they've found their people, and even if they don't end up staying in the writing or the arts or whatever, it's like any summer camp experience. They meet each other, they try out new personas, new personalities, and they have the opportunity to explore social mores outside of the strictures of like either school, home life, or their group of friends that they hang out with at home. So it's a really beautiful chance to watch these kids come into their own and grow and to be a part of that. Speaking
of being a director of an arts-focused summer camp, Karen, is this not deeply reminding you of Arts Trek?
I'm listening to you and I'm going, this, you know what, first of all, I know we're the same. That feeling, like I've been with Arts Trek now 12 years, but I've administrated it now for 7. So we're, we started about the same time as the brains of how the thing happens. But that idea, just that the fact that when you talk, it's about the kids that show up on Sunday are a different person by Tuesday and are leaving their best friends in the world by Friday afternoon. Yeah. And at Arts Trek, it's wait. You mean you have all the lyrics from Hamilton memorized too? What? So it's just, and I feel like, gosh, I think there's got to be I wish there was a way that we could, this is just me, but I wish there was a way that we could say, okay, everybody, start your summer at Wordsworth and then go to Arts Trek and then spend a week at the filmmaking camp and then go to animation camp. Like a
really run them through the
system.
ringer.
Yeah, I wish there was a way that we all
put them through the fun summer gauntlet.
Well, we did, do you know, are you familiar with In the Heights? Lin-Manuel Miranda's other musical, In the Heights?
Yes, I have. I have heard of it. I haven't heard any of the music or read the script, but I know it exists.
Okay, listen to it.
I'm still cool, right?
Yeah,
I'm with it.
Yeah.
Did you know what I meant when I said Hamilton?
Yes.
Okay, you're woke. That's fine. So.
Wow, Hamilton still means woke.
That's the bar?
But here's the thing. In the Heights, we got to do that 4 years ago at Arts Trek, I think. And like now I'm sitting there going, why didn't we have you as an instructor that year? Like, we should have had you there, spoken word poet when these guys are working on In the Heights and things like Hamilton. So when we ever get the rights to Hamilton, remind me so that I can tell them to hire you as an instructor.
Yeah, Colin, reminder. You got to reach out.
It'll be 19 years from now, but still, reach out. I'll be dead, but just reach out.
Sure. Yeah, I'll leave a nice note on your tombstone.
Yeah, Mom, you're gonna die in 19 years. Can we talk?
No.
I didn't want to do this on the show, but yeah.
I plan on living past
my mother, the woman who raised me. Did you just say you're going to be dead in 19 years?
Sorry, I didn't mean it. Honey.
Do you know something, or are you just pessimistic?
No, but I did do one of those little tests online, like plug in the answers to this, and then we'll tell you how I die. And it was like you die of a million little cuts, like just a million little cuts.
I'm so sorry.
My God, yeah. I
took it very seriously.
Yeah. Anyway, let's do some breakfast jokes, I guess. Fuck. What the hell?
I can't believe you guys don't do more of those surveys online because they are for real.
I did some of them when I was like 13 or 14, but then I saw one that was like, "What card are you? You're the 2 of carts," and I was like, "That's enough.
This is done."
That's when I stopped.
We should do a "What breakfast cereal are you?" though, or a "What breakfast food are you?" We should do that.
There's got to be that, especially the cereal one. I'm Fruit Loops. It doesn't matter, Colin. I will cut this part out if we're not allowed to talk about it, but I am wondering, at some point, it was at a house party at the Blue Nose, and Sam revealed to me that you went to Toronto or Vancouver to write for, or trial write for All That? No, that's so weird. Yes.
Yeah.
Are you allowed to talk about that? Do you know?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't get the gig, so I don't see why the fuck not.
It's so cool to me because That's So Weird was such a large part of my childhood.
That's immense. Yeah. So my story around That's So Weird was at the time that they were looking to get the show live, they were pitching it as like Mad TV Light, for the kids,
for the children.
So they did this big old tour across Canada and visited a bunch of comedy companies, and they came to Rapid Fire Theatre and saw one of our shows. And from Rapid Fire, they ended up asking a bunch of us to send in a taped audition, just as like an improvised monologue. An improvised character monologue, and I think I ended up doing something. I was Chet Motorbike, host of 92.5 The Power Surge or something, and he was a retired divorcee wrestler who had landed a gig at a community radio station. I don't know. It sounds pretty funny to me, and it sounded pretty funny to them, I guess, because of the 12 people that they ended up pulling to come and do the pilot shoot over the course of a week. 3 of them were from Rapid Fire Theatre right here in Edmonton. And 2 of the final cast of 6, 2 of them were from Rapid Fire Edmonton. Those are AJ Vogie and Joey Lucius. Yeah.
I forgot. Yeah, Joey.
Yeah.
Wait, AJ.
That's
Wait
right.
a minute.
Yeah, it's all coming
AJ's
back.
from Edmonton?
Yeah, dude, we went to high school together.
What? AJ? I'm thinking of the right guy, right? Like shockingly red hair.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my God. You went to high school with AJ? This is baffling. I didn't know this was going to go this way.
Yeah, dude, we're old buds.
I wanted to be the cool podcast host who didn't care, but now I'm a geek.
Yeah, I'll tell him you said hi.
Oh my God. Don't do that. Or do. I don't know. Does he like me? Fuck.
At any rate, we did a week of filming out there for the pilot, and they put us up in a hotel and gave us an honorarium, which we kept telling ourselves was a per diem. It's Latin for you can have whatever you want for breakfast as long as you walk to work. So we had a lot of fun out there, and I didn't make the final cut for the show, but they obviously did end up casting a really wonderful group of people, and it aired for several years. And yeah, that was my stint at YTV, a very brief and strange period of my life. But I ended up coming back and writing my first play, so it all worked out.
I have one more thing to touch on, because this is, to me, this really locked in Colin and I's friendship. This little event had a huge impact on me as a person.
Should Mommy hear this? Is there drugs involved?
Yeah, is this
Yeah, so
which house party is this? I'm not sure.
We beat up the Mavericks and claimed the school. Colin is a member of the Yeg Poetry Brothel, which is a lovely group of writers and poets and artists who there are sometimes where they invited us, which is where I went. I don't remember what the actual location was called.
We changed venues, I think, almost every show, so that makes sense.
Yeah, sometimes you go to a venue and experience them. Sometimes they do just like little pop-ups in a square in the middle of a festival. It's a very, very awesome group of people that people wish they were a part of. And in that, you could pay Colin to write you like a little bit of like a it was like, oh, I'm trying to remember. It was like a 10-line. I don't know if there was a limit. It was just a poem. And he was like on a tiny piece of paper, and he would write it on a typewriter, and then he would just give it to you, and he'd make them up right on the spot.
It's wild how many people come to me and say like, "Hey, I was going through my things, I found this," and sometimes it's old friends or whatever, and sometimes it's people that are like, "Hey, you're the top hat typewriter poem guy." And I was like, "Well,
you're the poet man."
Yeah. And they'll be like, "Oh, I still have your thing. It's on my mantelpiece. It's in my baby's nursery. Like So the typewriter thing and the poetry brothel thing are slightly different, but they're adjacent projects. The poetry brothel was started by Morgan Smith here in Edmonton as opening up a chapter of a show that was happening in New York, and I think Toronto and Vancouver maybe had chapters of the poetry brothel. But the premise is basically you show up, and the poets have these sort of fantastic personas that they've adopted in the style that you might think of a burlesque performer might adopt a stage name or whatever, a personality. And there's sometimes we did in fact have burlesque performers as part of the lineup. We'd have musicians come and join us and stuff. And it's this sort of like sultry, smoky cabaret feel, where we've got, people would go up and they would perform some live works. My particular persona was Bravado Cavalier, whose tagline was putting on a show and making it look easy. And I had this fucking like this coattails that I had gotten. I bought them at a secondhand store, but the real story is that I wiped out on a longboard and dislocated my shoulder, so it's like covered in blood and like all shredded up, and it's really cool but also kind of sexy. And I did, I'd put this on and I'd go up there and I'd do my thing, the other poets that were involved were Liam Cody, who was Loco Coyote. Tabitha Carol Ann performed as Saint Anne for a little while. Julie performs as New Boy quite frequently right now, but played our cabaret host, Miss Dan Moran. And we had a few guest poets and things like that. But the idea was a sort of intimate reading. So after you would see the performance of the poets, you could go to that poet and draw the curtain aside, and they would take you back into the boudoir, and they would give you a private reading. So yeah, very intimate, very, very personal. And I typically would offer people either a reading of a poem that I had prepared, or I could write them something on my typewriter, which was something that I was doing under the name of the Merchant Poet for quite a while, where I would set up with a 1954 Underwood Golden Touch Quiet Tab Deluxe on the corner of White Avenue, and put my little top hat on and my little painted sign that says Poem Shop, and I would sit there and yell at people and go, "Poems for sale, fresh poems, get them while they're hot," and people would be like, "What the hell?" And I go like, "I've got just the thing."
You could have made up all those typewriter words, and I would have no idea. You could have said nothing there, and I was like, "Oh, he has one of those."
I love the idea of going past the velvet curtain into the boudoir and getting like a lap rhyming.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is. It's
what?
It's
Wait a minute. What did you just say,
a lap
Karen?
rhyme.
Did you say lap
Yeah,
rhyming?
like lap dance, only a lap rhyme.
it makes your thighs rhyme.
Yeah, or a lap prose, or a lap spoken.
So Colin said a fun thing, which is, makes your thighs rhyme. So what's lap prose?
Lap prose is it makes one thigh bigger than the other. They don't have to look the same.
A little bit of asymmetry can actually make things even more beautiful in the right circumstances.
Right? It's lap asymmetrinus. You asked for
Asymmetrinus. Asymmetrinus. There's something there too.
Asymmetrinus?
That's my drag name.
I can't get past Chet motorcycle. Chet motorbike?
Chet motorcycles are really good.
Chet motorbike.
Chet
Yeah.
motorbike.
Chet's a good name.
Yeah.
Chet.
I can't get past
It's like getting hit in the face with a domino.
Yeah. Yeah. And it sounds like jet, which makes it fast and strong and expensive too.
Yeah, that's right. Before we start bringing things to wrap, Colin, do you want to just talk about? I know you already did it, but just for the reminder for the listeners, where to find you on Brother Bedtime times?
Absolutely, yeah. I stream Monday through Thursday at 8:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time at twitch.tv/brotherbedtime. And for the past little while, I've also been doing an afternoon stream on Fridays where I muddle my way through Pathfinder Kingmaker, which is a really delightful D20 system, sort of in the vein of Baldur's Gate for any of the OG hyper nerds out there.
Kevin.
Yeah.
My husband.
What up, Kevin? What up, Kevin?
I barely know Baldur's Gate, but I think I know it as a PC game. That's my knowledge.
Yeah. It was an adaptation of, I think, 2nd edition Dungeons and Dragons, and Pathfinder was. Anyways, I've been playing a game in the afternoon. You can come and hang out with me in a less performative context. But Monday through Thursday, I set up by my little. I set up by the fireplace, and I have this amazing red velvet smoking jacket, and I sit in this gorgeous painted rocking chair and we read some storybooks, and it's a really good time. We just finished, as I said, reading Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and we're going to be starting Nova by Samuel R. Delany this coming Monday, which is probably a few weeks old at this point. So stop by for a book that not even I know what it will be by the time you're hearing this. Once again, that's 8:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, twitch.tv/brotherbedtime.
And your YouTube channel is just Brother Bedtime. If they look for that, they'll find that.
Yeah. You'll see some really deliberate production values in those early days. So feel free to stop by and then come to the live show and see just how far it's come. The answer is like some of the way. I've been pretty middling with what this project's scope and scale is. Like if it's just a thing for me and my family and my friends to pop by and hang out, or if it's like, no, I'm taking over the world. So it's somewhere in between those two things right now. And it's wholesome usually. It's great for the kids sometimes, but it's always a really nice time for humans, generally speaking. So come say hello to me, Colin.
And how about, does Brother Bedtime have any other social medias?
I guess that would be my Twitter. You could follow my personal Twitter, and that's at GoGo Colin Matty, named after, of course, the famous Inspector Gadget.
I'll pop in here really quickly to say that The Breakfast Dish is a member of the Alberta Podcast Network, locally grown, community supported. The intro music you just heard and the outro music you're about to hear is by Alexandra Kalman. All graphic design for The Breakfast Dish has been done by Morgan Ermter. Karen, what else is going on this week?
Thank you for asking. Here's some things that are happening next week and the weeks after that. You can still see and experience the Skirts of Fire Festival in Edmonton. It's a reimagined festival this year. It still runs until March 14th at the Westbury Theatre and Chianti Cafe. They're saying it's online and outdoors and lots of safety protocols. This is a great festival that is focused on fabulous women's stories. It started with wine, popcorn, and a group of brilliant women, and it's been going since 2013. You can experience live performances, theater, dance, cabaret, music, comedy, visual arts, and spoken word. They're all on the menu. Go to skirtsafire.com. Also happening this week and all the way until May, there's Spring 2021 ghost tours at Heritage Park. You get a guided ghost tour through the darkened streets of the historical village. Behind the park's old-fashioned charm lie stories of otherworldly encounters, spine-tingling history, and some memorable manifestations. All the tours, there's 2 tours each evening at 7 p.m. and 7:30 on particular dates. In March, it was the 4th. You can also go on the 11th, the 18th, and the 25th, but there's lots of dates in April as well. Go to heritagepark.ca.
Yay.
Wasn't that a great lineup?
What an excellent collection of events that we had prepped, because we're all very confident about the episode number. Colin, usually how we like to wrap things up here on The Breakfast Dish is Karen will ask you a breakfast-themed question that may or may not have to do with the thing that we just talked about, but hopefully it has pays some homage to it, because she is a professional improviser. Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
You have 2 characters you've mentioned, Chet Motorbike and Bravado Cavalier. If you had to have a third personality with a breakfast-themed name, what would it be?
That's really good. I feel like it would be Saratoga veggie wrap, and it would be some sort of like Greek toga style, like a philosopher personality. I've been really digging veggie wraps lately. Hummus, cucumber, pickled. Fuck, man, live forever. It's so good.
Fuck, man, fucking veggie wraps.
Yeah, pardon my friend.
Saratona veggie wrap is also a really good drag name, I think.
Yeah.
Don't you dare pardon your French. I've never once said The Breakfast Dish is for kids, and I won't start now. On YouTube and Buzzsprout, I say not made for kids.
We're no brother bedtime. We're
Get out of here.
Swear up a storm.
Poop butt. Fuck poop. Nice.
Jeepers.
We have to say something. Karen, do another joke. I can't end the episode on fuck butt. Karen, quickly, you have to find a nice, wholesome way to end the episode.
Colin, I just want to say, I think that your mother has raised you very well. You know, at 33, to be the kind of person that performs for others, kids, taking their thoughts into account, has a solid relationship, has a place with a fireplace, and is eating healthy. I compliment your parents.
I'll pass it along. I'm definitely checking a lot of boxes, aren't I?
Yeah, you are.
When you say it like that, everything's going to be okay.
And you know what? As a normal mother, I'd be like, are you ever going to cut that hair? But Karen Johnson Diamond is saying, don't ever cut that hair.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. And once again, this is Colin, a.k.a. Brother Bedtime, saying to you and yours, good night, moon, and good night, stars. Good night, trucks, and good night, cars. Good night, shoes, and good night, hats. Good night, dogs, and good night, cats. Good night to friends and to family. Good night to you, and good night to me. Sweet dreams, everybody.
Bop, 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 bop.
This episode is brought to you by Park Power, your friendly local utilities provider in Alberta, offering internet, electricity, and natural gas with low rates, awesome service, and profit sharing with local charities.
I need all of those things, and I'm in Alberta.
Hey!
Picture this.
What a coincidence. In Alberta, you get to choose who to buy your internet, electricity, and natural gas from. Park Power has low overhead, which in turn allows them to offer low competitive rates.
That's what I want. I want low rates. We're all tight for cash.
Yeah, and you're in your first apartment, so seriously, you should be looking at Park Power.
Don't scold me on the ad.
Reach out for a no obligations comparison by emailing estimates at parkpower.ca. If you decide to switch, it's easy. It's really just a change to your billing, and you can feel good knowing that you're helping to give back to our communities with your utilities bills. Learn more at parkpower.ca.
This has been The Breakfast Dish.